chillers, welcome back to my channel. So today is Wednesday, which means it is Spooky Day. And today I'm going to be reading a story called I Found a Mass Execution Site in the Desert, Part 1. So let's just get started. I was driving across the country with my dog when it happened. I was somewhere in a really desolate part of Nevada. Nothing much visible for miles any direction except more highway and more desert. Other cars were pretty rare sights too. I took the dog out to stretch our legs and so he could wee. We walked off from the road a little bit. Actually, he kept pulling me away from it. He was sniffing like mad and really wanted me to keep walking. So I did. I saw it when we crested a bit of a hill. It was still a ways off, and what it was wasn't clear yet, but I saw it. And naturally I kept on heading towards it. It was surprisingly close to the highway to be so hidden. I guess it was protected from view by that little hill, and by the collective apathy of anyone driving this remote way about their seriously barren surroundings. I realized what I was seeing about when I started smelling it, and let me tell you, I think that was the worst smell I've had the misfortune of inhaling in all my life. But of course it wasn't what was at the front of my mind just then. What I saw was a massive arrangement of crucifixes, real ones, full-sized, wooden, and everything. They were arranged neatly into rows and columns, making it seem that this was a well-planned operation. There were about 100 there, and every cross that I could see from where I was held a body. There was an empty corner, which I assumed meant this installation wasn't complete. Gasping, I eventually reached the closest row. It was mostly composed of crosses with bones at their bases, that probably once were part of skeletons. The next row, a few feet away, was a similar sight, but each skeleton was more complete. The following rows, however, really disturbed me. The next row or two was filled with things like hair, nails, and miscellaneous internal organs I couldn't name. Little things here and there, the last things to go. Next I saw torn limbs, large hunks of flesh, and even dead faces. The skin on many of the faces had begun to recede, and the shape of a skull was visible, coming through the thin flesh. The next row had bodies that were largely together. Many of them still hung on their crosses. They had been nibbled here and there by scavenging animals, though, and they were quite stained with blood. The bodies were nude and all very thin, covered with bite marks and claw marks. And of course, the odd one was still missing some legs or had a gaping hole in his or her chest, through which I could see torn, damaged guts. I made the mistake of looking up at one corpse who was still hanging and looked him straight in the eye. The eye because one was missing, and the socket looked like it had been ripped at. Bones in his upper cheek were visible. Finally I got to the incomplete row. The bodies here were mostly together, which was terrifying on its own. I could feel the eyes of the corpses on me, and I tried to keep at bay the urge to look at the bony, barely decomposing people. Most of them wore crowns of thorns, just as you'd associate with a crucifixion. I made my way to the unfinished corner, to the cross I assumed was the most recent. I heard a very quiet, wheezing groan come out of the man on it. I had to find a pulse to see if I had imagined it. After some difficulty, I got the cross down and got him off of it. He did have a pulse. Barely alive, he couldn't stand, walk, talk, or move his arms very much at all. But he wheezed and moaned madly. I quickly repeated my search for a pulse on the other two newest victims, but they were truly dead. I threw the living, barely, one over my shoulder to the best of my ability, and started desperately heaving the almost corpse back to my vehicle. The trip felt terribly long, and it was exhausting to carry him back there through the desert sun, light as he was. But eventually I made it and threw the skeletal man across the back seat with a relief grunt. I had been calling aloud for help on the way, but had not been heard, or at least had not been helped. I didn't have signal out here, but even if I did, it wouldn't have made sense to call an ambulance to the middle of nowhere. So I drove. I started driving the way I had been going. It had been a long ways since I had seen a town the way I'd come. So I had to pray that there was a town closer this way, and luckily for him there was. I took him to the hospital. It was a real ordeal to getting people to listen to how I found him, and eventually I had to tone down the story to make it more believable. I'm about to head to the police station of this town and tell them about what I saw, and I'll see if I can find our way back there. I've marked this as a series because I'll try to share developments as they happen. I need to talk to the survivor, assuming we don't lose him. I don't want to think about what kind of thing it is that's organizing people to be executed like that. But we have to find out what we can, because it looks like it doesn't plan to stop. And judging by the various states of decay, it won't be long before someone else joins the ranks of the sacrificed. And thus ends part 1 of that story. Now I'm pretty sure they're going to be coming out with a part 2, because it's a new series, and I'm so glad to have just found a new series. Yes. So I will actually have a running series on my channel. Other than, like, there's something wrong with my fiance where I just read each part in a video. Running series, yes. So, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up so I know. Please follow all my social media down below in the description. Please click my button to subscribe to my channel, and you can click here to see something or my newest video, and then you can click here to see something new or something related to this, or just whatever they choose on my channel. Alright, I will see you guys on Friday. Peace out, chillers.